Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal, and I'm here tonight with Bruce. Hey, Bruce.
Hey David, how are you doing tonight?
Monumentally relieved. Um, the
Bum,
Oilers
bum, bum, bum.
play La Bomba. Yeah, everyone in Edmonton loves that. Of course, why wouldn't
Why
we?
wouldn't
Why
they?
would?
If you can't
Um,
cheer for Joey Moss and Ben Stelter, then you need a heart transplant.
ain't that the truth? I always get choked up just thinking of that little kid. So,
Yeah, he was in the
anyway,
barn tonight,
was he? Yeah, that's good. I'm
as I
so focused
understand
on
it.
game grades and
Maybe it
scoring
was early.
chances that.
Yeah, I know.
So the Oilers won 5-3, Bruce, and man, that was a scary game. The Oilers were the best team. The grade A shots were 16-8 for the Oilers, and the five alarm shots were that's a subset of the grade A shots. The five alarm, the very best scoring chances, where a goalie's really called upon
hmm
to come up big. It was 9-4 for the Oilers. So they on the very, very best chances, the Oilers were totally dominant, and yet the Flames found a way to get back in this game, which was extremely frustrating, honestly,
hmm
and for a number of reasons, which we'll get into. But Edmonton won. How are you
It was
doing?
it was very very odd in that Calgary dominated the standard shots on goal and especially shot attempts to the tune of 76 to 41, I believe it was. Uh, but we saw the Oilers as having the better chances and better looks, at least shots that they got on goal. At I think it was 7-2 in the first period, and even in the second, and then 6-3 in the third. Mind you, they got a couple, on that late power play. Nuge got a couple of good looks there, but
Yeah, yeah.
there was there's a real dichotomy between shot volume, as Todd McClellan would say, and shot quality. And
It's not
so,
that. That's sometimes the case. It's not
uh,
not
well,
unheard of.
some of it's just freakishness. I mean, the gift goal that Edmonton got was a five-alarm shot for Nugent Hopkins because
Yeah,
of the type of mistake that Markstrom made, coughing up the puck.
yeah.
Whereas the gift goal that Calgary got was a grade C chance only because we don't have a grade D, E, or F where it probably truly belonged.
Grade Z.
Other than that, never in doubt.
Do Canadians still say Z, or is that just old people like us, Bruce, who say Z?
Zed? Oh, I think we say Zed. I think we say
We
Zed.
do, but do
Yeah.
young people say it? I'm just all right. Bruce, this is our two good things, two bad things, and two
hmm
numbers podcast. We'll go with two good things each, but we're going to start it off. Excuse me, with a bad thing. I'm fighting a cold here, so we're going to start off with the bad things because, like, I mean, you got to start with this, and this is Mike Smith's. What was it? 124 feet? Is that what we said?
130, 132
2?
feet. Yeah.
So Mike Smith, he wasn't overly tested this game. He did make some big saves, Bruce, in this game.
hmm Yeah.
He stopped Gaudreau. He stopped
Yeah.
Lindholm a couple times. There
Yeah.
were some big saves on his part.
hmm
I think he could have done better on the Backlund goal.
Yeah. Me
Maybe
too.
on the power play goal that was scored.
hmm
Kevin Bieksa mentioned he thought Smith was a bit back far in his net, but they're always
Yeah.
back
That's a
in their
that's a
nets. This is,
problem.
yeah, that seems to be how they play net. So I don't know. Anyway, but Bruce, this was the Oilers are they're nursing a lead. They have a lead, and I think if they can get this under 10 minutes, I thought they're going to win this game because they've been the better team all night. They're going to get it under 10 minutes, and they're going to win this game. Is what I was thinking. And then they get a power play. It's like, oh, good, we're going to get down to 8 minutes, and
Yeah.
it's going to be really, sure thing kind of
Well.
territory. So they're up 3-2. Like they've allowed Calgary somehow to sneak back into this game. I think undeservedly. I heard Sutter saying the Flames came back and battled hard. I didn't see that, honestly. I've been a little bit astonished at the Flames' lack of hustle, for lack of like that's I think that's the right word. Like I mean, they don't seem to be taking it to the Oilers very much. Anyway, they got back in the they're back in 3-2 and but the Oilers have gotten it down. and it's a nothing play, just an icing play that Zadorov clears the puck and it goes high into the air. It looks like for a second he's screened by the ref, then maybe a little bit by Keith. Like there's a few things going on.
Yeah.
Anyway, Mike Smith is way out of position on the play. He is way out of position on the play.
Mm-hmm.
Not even close. And that was the weirdest playoff goal against the Edmonton Oilers, I'm saying, since Steve Smith banked one in 1986. And it had a similar effect on the crowd, totally quieting the crowd. Just that game where Steve Smith scored it himself, it drained every drop of energy out of the building,
I
and
was
it
in that
drained
crew.
every drop of energy out of the Edmonton Oilers at that time. And it was horrible because they just couldn't get it going. And there was that same feeling.
Yeah.
There was that same feeling here for about 2 or 3 minutes.
Impending doom, that feeling?
Indeed, Bruce. And then somehow they got it going. And it
Mm.
started off actually with Darnell Nurse getting a grade A shot off a Draisaitl pass, but they did start to get their mojo back in the game, and they avoided. They fought off the ghost of Steve Smith in this one, Bruce. But that's got to be my bad thing, is that play by Mike Smith. It was super bad.
Yeah, well, yeah, Smith had just had sort of a dubious handle where he had to wait for the puck to clear the no-go zone. And one of the commenters on TV, Rudy, maybe said that maybe just sort of threw him off for a moment. He was able to make the play, and the Oilers came up, and Kane just coughed it up for no reason coming over the Calgary blue line. And Rasmus Anderson, not Zadorov,
Oh, it was
but
Anderson.
Rasmus Anderson just took a swing at it just to clear it down the ice. And just the way the play was developing, there was two Oilers crossing through the center zone, and the shot went behind both of them, and it went up in the air, so that Smith, like, there was no white boards behind it. It was up and in the crowd, and he just never picked it up. It was like an outfielder losing a fly ball in the sun. And he never saw it until it literally bounced. I think he heard it bounce in the crease as it was on its way into the net. And of course, then he's all, "What the hell's going on out here?" But sorry, goalie, that one's on you when they score from 132 feet. I don't think it was deflected, but if it was right at source. And my son says that the puck actually curved in the air. It was one of these ones that just kind of had a weird trajectory to it, and all of a sudden, so it just was
May well have. It was hard to tell.
Oh man,
It's hard to tell the
well,
trajectory
you
of the
couldn't
puck,
see
honestly.
it because it was against the crowd, and it wasn't low. Like normally, you can see shots on the camera angle against the ice or the boards, right? And it was just kind of lost in the in the in the muddle of color in the middle, and Smith clearly lost it, and he didn't have, as you say, very good position, and so it wasn't quite Vesatoskala territory, which was like 190 feet. It was from actually behind the goal line. The guy shot it, and it bounced about 16 times. And the last bounce, it went suddenly up and to the right and past Toskala. Very famous goal. Look it up on YouTube. If you're mad at Mike Smith, watch the one on Vesatoskala from 2008.
Bruce, what is your bad thing?
Yeah, I got to go with Darnell Nurse's coverage on the first goal. And I have a tiny amount of sympathy because I think he was trying to do two things at once.
Yeah.
He was trying to cover a pass off to Kachuk. I think it was at the edge of the crease. There was a chance for a deflection from there. And so what he did was he kind of kept his stick off to the left. But he does this, it drives me nuts. He goes down on one knee to try and take away the shooting lane, except for this just in. The shooting lane moves with the puck. When the guy with the puck moves to one side, the shooting lane moves with him. When the guy blocking the shooting lane is down on his damn knees, he can't move with him. And he's doing it over and over again. It's like he's got this sort of, I don't know what it is. Like it's like, stay on your darn feet, man. Battle the guy. You're going to win the battles, but you got to be in the battles to win them. If you take yourself out of the play and the guy just moves 5 feet to the side and fires it in the net and you're off to one side, what are you doing? I just don't get it. I've seen too much of it this year.
Yeah.
And he's doing it like a lot. Drop to one knee and cover as much space as possible. Well, So the
You
the
know,
puck moves, the players move, and they're pretty good. And if you lock yourself into one spot, that's called being a pylon. And he was just took himself out of the play as the shooter actually improved his position into the center of the slot. And instead of having a guy in the lane or a stick on his stick, Darnell basically wasn't there at all. And Lindholm, who has a great shot, was able to let it fly from the slot. And otherwise, Nurse, I thought he was a little bit of a culprit on the shorthanded chance that Calgary had at the end that had our hearts in our throats. When Edmonton had a 4-minute power play to close it out, and the first thing they did was give up
yeah.
a scary-looking shot. And otherwise, I didn't think Nurse had a bad game, but just a couple of individual sort of defensive coverage type plays that was a little bit lax, and one wound up in the net. Thankfully, the other one did not.
Yeah, Bruce. One thing I would say about Nurse, and Kevin Bieksa pointed this out. I hadn't noticed it myself until then. On that play, Lindholm had the puck for, you know, 3 steamboats,
At least.
and Nuge was slow coming down from the point to cover him. He
Mm-hmm.
didn't hustle down. That was a good point by Bieksa. But it would help Nurse if there was some back
Yeah,
pressure.
yeah, back pressure would have helped for sure.
And on the that, I couldn't believe it when the Oilers gave up that 2 minutes left in the game, and the Oilers on the power play give up a grade A shot. Like,
Yeah.
what is going on? And that play, we've been praising Connor McDavid a lot. I have, you have, we all
Mm-hmm.
have.
Yeah.
And he made a bad pass into the middle of the ice, and
Mm-hmm.
Draisaitl wasn't able to corral it and turned it over. I mean, he's getting closer to 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's
Yeah.
85 this game, 85%, up from about 30% after the injury. But
Mm-hmm.
that's a tough pass for him on the move in the middle of the ice. Man, you have a 1-goal lead, power play, 2 minutes left in the game. Why are you passing it in the middle of the ice? Take it low, cycle the puck.
Yeah.
That was a mental error by Connor McDavid
Yes, it
that
was.
kicked off that sequence of pain, which was almost ultimate pain. Because if they had scored, that would have been horrible, and they almost did. Because, like
Well,
you
they had a
say,
good shot.
Nurse, he had a good shot. Smith kicks out a huge rebound right back at the guy, and it was the
Mm-hmm.
rebound shot that was
Backhand.
actually a really dangerous one.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, some forwards there didn't cover themselves in glory, but I'm always on the lookout for that, Bruce.
Right. Yeah.
uh,
Now, Backlund, he had a good game for Calgary, and
Player.
you said you didn't think Calgary skated that well. I thought a few of their guys were really solid in this game, and I thought the return of Chris Tanev on the back end was it made a difference, even though he clearly has got a bad shoulder. But he made a difference. I thought their willpower wasn't too bad, but they just they had too big of a deficit to dig out of, and they did dig out of it, but it came down to basically who was going to make the big play at the end, and that was the Oilers. And that's my first good thing, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Let me say that he was one of those beat on the first Calgary goal. But for Edmonton, he scored the first goal just 21 seconds into the first period by jumping on a gift bad pass by uh, Jacob Markstrom, who's supposedly a really good puck handling goalie. Well, guess what? That happens to him too. Once
Is
in
he
a
supposed
while,
to be
he'll
good?
cough one up. Yeah, yeah, that was
I thought he was bad.
well
I've seen him cough it up a lot of times.
based on tonight's game.
Okay.
So yeah, going into the series, I heard one of the Calgary experts saying that Markstrom's puck handling was uh, a fairly good match for Smiths. Now, maybe that's what we saw there. Anyway,
I've never
uh, but
noticed that,
but
honestly. So
Nuge buried that one to get the Oilers off to the good start, and then of course he came up with the key play at the end of the game, or the key goal, which was a play by several Oilers. But I'll just single out Nuge because I think you're going to talk more about that goal for driving into the crease, tipping the original shot on net. So he actually got credit, I think, with a 6-foot deflection and then a 7-foot rebound, which he was just able to jump on and Markstrom got a little piece of his paddle on it, but it went off of the paddle and up and into the roof of the net, setting off the crowd. And it was that was a big moment, and it's good to see the Nuge delivering uh, a huge goal in the crunch for the Oilers, and really two tonight. Uh, Two goals, plus two, 5 shots on net, and 5 block shots. Don't see that
Wow.
from a forward very often. Five
Yeah.
shots, 5 block shots. So he was, I'm pretty sure, named the game's first star, and deservedly so, even though it was not a perfect game by him or anybody. I thought this game was a lower quality hockey game than the last game.
Yeah, that's true. I like that he scored on that first one because you could imagine some of the Oilers players missing that shot,
Oh
but
yeah.
he had the calm and the skill to put
Hmm.
that in the net, and
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, he went to the net on the winning goal. I really loved the winning goal. It
Hmm.
seemed to me they battled that puck right up the ice. It was a
Yep.
battle to get that puck right up the ice, and Yamamoto and I think was involved in that, and
Yes.
uh, if I think it was Cece who won the first battle to kick that off, but I'm not exactly sure. They won it in the corner, then Yamamoto gets it out, and Hyman wins the. He's battling hard in the corner in the offensive end, and then Yamamoto comes in, battles, gets the puck, and swoops out and makes the low high pass to Barry, who puts a hard shot on net,
Hmm.
and that's a high skill play from both Yamamoto and Barry under pressure as well.
Yep.
And as you say, Nuge is there. He's right where a forward should be, on the doorstep to put the puck in the net. That's how you score goals in the NHL. So I just love the fact um, that the Oilers, they just showed real grit on that play. This was a team they showed resilience
Hmm.
because after that Smith goal,
Yeah.
people's heads were swimming. The crowd was out of it. And
Yeah.
the Oilers, you have to imagine the Oilers were also struggling because it's just so
Hmm.
bewildering. Like, how does
Yeah.
that happen? It's
Hmm.
upsetting. And yet these guys, that line went out there and they ground out just a great goal, fantastic goal.
Hmm.
So the Oilers' resilience culminating in that goal is my first good thing.
Yeah,
But
Hyman won the battle in the first battle in the corner, and then Yamamoto was able to jump on the puck and basically win a battle to get it, and come out behind the net and make that pass back to Barry. And when you think of gritty players that you expect to come through when the chips are down, I'm not sure that Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Kyler Yamamoto and Tyson Barrie are necessarily tops of your list. Zach Hyman, no surprise there. But when you start to get those contributions, and I've been thinking all along, the Oilers are not going to win this series with one line doing almost all of the scoring.
and they didn't, yeah.
And tonight they did some of the scoring, but they didn't have to do all of it. And if they did have to do all of it, Oilers would have lost. But they got two big goals from that line of Hyman and uh, Nugent Hopkins and Jesse Puljujärvi.
Tyson Barrie played 2023.
Mm-hmm.
He's been really playing well in these playoffs. Probably his best hockey for the Oilers. He and Kulak have formed a really
Mm-hmm.
sound pairing. So
Yep.
good for him. And actually do see Yamamoto as a gritty kind of player who might be in the middle of
Yeah.
that kind of thing. But that was a huge redeeming moment for him because on that shorthanded goal, Yamamoto had twice failed to get the puck out of the Calgary end, and especially
Yes.
the first time, the first
Oh.
clearance, he had all kinds of time and he just put it right on the guy's stick. It happens, right? Hockey happens fast.
Yeah.
These mistakes happen, but man, what a lost opportunity! And I'm sure he's kicking himself major,
Yeah.
major about that one. Um, excuse me. My second good thing, I'm going to single out Cody Ceci. Um, he contributed to the Kane goal. He pinched down the boards and was instrumental in the Oilers winning that puck. Draisaitl put it to Kane, and Kane scored the goal on a deflection. He has just been Cody Ceci has been, um, you know, he. I was going to say outstanding, but that's the wrong word for Cody Ceci
Mm-hmm.
because he's not an
Mr.
outstanding player.
Reliable.
He's just missed exactly, Bruce. And the number one, he's the best defenseman on the Oilers right now. He's their number one defenseman. He He just played such a solid game against tough competition, moving the puck, defending the puck. He made major contributions to 3 grade A shots this game, which is really good for a defenseman, and just a mistake on 1 against, and that was a tough play where Gaudreau comes steaming down the wing a million miles an hour, and CC couldn't close him down on a dangerous shot. Other than that, Cody CC at even strength was pretty much spotless. So I've got a lot of admiration for this player. I think he's when he hurt his hand the other game, when it looked like he might have, when he took that shot off his hand, I was thinking, oh, this is the one guy. Like there's a number of one guys they can't lose. This is one of the guys they really can't lose. Like it'll be a tough go if they lose Cody Ceci, because he's doing so many valuable things at even strength and shorthanded. So he's my other good thing.
Right on.
Are we on to numbers here, Bruce? You've done your.
I think
2?
I have another good thing, and I'm just going to single out the 3-0 first period, which by our count we had 7-2 grade A shots for the Oilers. I didn't think they totally controlled that period, and I thought they were lucky, frankly, to come out with the 3-0 lead.
Yeah.
Especially late, they made it 2-0 fairly early, and a really nice power play goal by Zach Hyman that made it 2-0, and then Calgary started to control the zone time, but they really had mostly the puck on the perimeter and a couple of outside shots, but nothing super dangerous. And then the Oilers was like they came over the blue line once, and the puck went to Kane, and he fired a shot and hit the shaft of the defenseman's stick, and it ricocheted right inside the post. Markstrom was just had almost no chance on that to make it 3-0. But anytime you can take a 3-0 lead to the room after either period, that's a very strong position, and it wasn't strong enough in the end. But I guess you could say the mountain was 1 goal too high for Calgary to overcome it entirely. They could tie it, but they could never get their nose in front. So that hot start was a big part of the win. But compared to the 4-0 second period the other night, when they scored all those dazzling goals off the rush, this one was, we'll take the goals, but they kind of were grinder, or they got a lucky break on 2 of them. But
McDavid was a mere mortal in this one.
Yes, he was.
He had some great plays in the game, but not like in the previous games. Okay, let's move on to numbers, Bruce.
Okay.
My number is 4 out of 6. So at the Cult of Hockey, we track grade A shots. And if a defenseman hasn't made a major mistake on a grade A shot against during the game at even strength, I don't include shorthanded or the power play situations. I consider he's kept a clean sheet at even strength. So 4 out of the 6 defensemen did that, which is a really high number.
Nice.
Nurse, Bouchard, Kulak, and Barry. So, Nurse had his moments, both shorthanded on the power play, giving up chances. But even strength, he kept a clean sheet. This is the first time, I think, in some time, Darnell has been struggling at even strength. Largely, I think, or possibly because we don't know how serious his injury is. We know he's playing with an injury. Hasn't looked like himself. He's not the physical player that he was.
Had 2 or 3 good chances, though, David. He had 2 close himself, and he made a really nice pass to RNH on that late power play for a good look.
He did. He was steaming around the ice pretty well there. Bouchard played with tremendous composure, I thought, and has been throughout the playoffs. He's looking like a veteran NHLer all of a sudden. He's looking calm with the puck and making good decisions. Kulak and Barry, just a very quiet game. They didn't get in a lot of trouble in their own end, and that's exactly what you want. So Kulak has turned out to be a very solid acquisition by Ken Holland, it's fair to say. Way more value, which is good, than the Kulikov trade last year. I mean, Kulikov was kind of up and down with the Oilers, but he was only a 4th pick. Kulak was a 2nd pick, but they are getting value. They're winning. He's a big part of a winning team right now. So Those four players came up big, and the other guys, Keith and Cece, only made one major mistake each on a grade A shot. Keith's was pretty bad, of course, getting beat on the goal. But they were also solid other than that. I thought Keith was really good other than that play. So this defense is not a full of, well, there's a big name player in Duncan Keith, but this isn't like, murderer's row here of the 1927 New York Yankees. This is kind of a bunch of good players, but they're getting it done in most games, and they got it done tonight.
Yeah, they did. And they limited, I thought, the number of real dangerous Calgary chances, even as I was frustrated by how much time the puck spent in Oilers territory, but mostly on the perimeter. So.
Yep.
So my number is 45. This one's slightly convoluted. This is the number of points that Leon Draisaitl has personally scored against Calgary Flames since the calendar turned to 2020. So we're talking like 2.5 years now. And the Oilers have played 21 games against Calgary now, including these 4 in this playoff series. And of course, 10 last year in the Canadian division. So they played Calgary a lot, 21 games. And those 21 games, Leon's got 8 goals, so not that high a total for him. 37 assists and 45 points in 21 games. 37 assists. He has 3 more assists tonight. And it's the 4th game in a row in this series that he had at least 3 points. Like he's had, 3 points. 3, 3, 4, and 3 is his points total. Reputedly playing on less than 2 full legs. And I think more than 1, but less than 2 would probably be the it would be somewhere in that range. And tonight he got a secondary assist on Hyman's goal, but on a nice power play pass to McDavid, and then a primary pass to Kane on the 3-0 goal, and then he earned a secondary assist on the empty net goal, which I saw while analyzing the scoring chances. That I thought he made a terrific play to deflect Noah Hannifin's point shot, which was just a desperation shot into traffic, but who knows what kind of trouble could ensue. And Leon, with the big reach and the bigger paddle, got a piece of that shot and deflected it wide, and it wound up hitting the boards out by the trapezoid line and bounced right to McDavid, who shoveled it up to Kane, and Kane did the rest. So as I said to you in the notes, not only is it a contribution to the scoring chance, if they're on the ball, they'll actually award him an assist. And I was pleased to see that, in fact, they did, because it was a kind of a subtle but important play. So that guy, he gets assists any number of ways. And you think 2 times 50 goal scorer, he's going to be shooter. But against Calgary, he's just crushed them. And he's always long had really good games against Calgary and really good results against Calgary. And he has continued that in this series with a vengeance. That's 3 games in a row that he outscored McDavid and had the most points in the game.
That's amazing. Yeah, truly amazing. Because he is. I mean, like he almost scored on he got off. Finally, he executed the executioner shot. And again, save. I'm thinking, Bruce, if he was healthy, if he was fully healthy, that's in the net.
Got it up about 6 more inches.
Yeah, but he got a darn good shot.
It was
so
a great save. Yeah, it was a bullet, and Markstrom was very sorely tested.
Yeah. Well, Bruce, let's leave it there before I dissolve into
that was his only shot of the night.
It was, yeah. Well, it was a heck of a shot. Heck of a shot, harpooned that at net and almost scored the goal. So, and Bruce, such a huge win, because Colorado looks like it's going to go through in 5. And it's really important. Like, if the Oilers are going to have any hope against a fantastic Colorado team, they've got to dispatch the Flames. They've got to get rest. They got to, they got some guys who are hurting. As much time as they can off, they got to get it. So it's really important. This win was massive in that way too, because if you go 7 games and Colorado's been resting again.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't bode well
Yeah.
for the Oilers. It really just doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
So close it out, close it out next game if you can. Like that'd be fantastic if it
Well,
happened.
next game they can, and of course now we know there's a 100% chance they will get a chance to close it out at home, right? If they had dropped this game, there's every chance they go down
Yeah,
to
that's right.
Calgary, lose game 5, and then you know, so we know they'll get 3 chances if necessary to close out this series. But you'd like to, I think the key word there is dispatch. Yes, you'd like to smother the Flames as quickly as possible. It's generally a good strategy when it comes to Flames.
Indeed, indeed. We'll see what happens. I mean, the Flames are obviously they're a really good team. They must be immensely frustrated with their play right now and the results
Good.
because yeah, good. I agree, but man, they are not getting it done.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think like I expected a superhuman effort from the Flames this game, and of course that was thwarted right off the top with Markstrom's turnover. Right, it just takes the wind right out of your sails. So that was good. That was fantastic. That had me yelling happy words.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what happens next game, Bruce. Thanks for talking tonight.
All right. Thanks for listening, everyone.
And in the meantime, and in between times, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.